What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, I heard you guys is in the comments, so we're doing this video. That's right, the harness for the center console. You guys wanted to see how this thing is done. It's really not a lot to it, but we're going to show you anyways. Oh yeah, let me show you a little bit of progress, what we've been going on with this thing on the inside. We finally got the dash in, and look at that, got a new steering wheel in, ready to go. Dash is good to go. This thing is coming along. Not to mention, I'm going to show you one other thing here before we move along. It's a little something that I came up with. I haven't really talked too much about it, but there's a point to this thing because you guys remember our cigarette lighter slash now it's a phone holder. And yeah, we got basically a custom mount that'll basically go onto here. That guy is now going to be our cell phone holder. But we eliminated obviously the cigarette lighter that we normally use for a phone charger, right? Where are you going to charge your phone? Yeah, look what I came up with, you guys. Now, not too shabby. How you like that little 3D action right there? 3D printed, guys. I came up with this little, basically it's like a little insert that you screw into the ashtray, and then you mount your cigarette lighter in there slash cell phone holders, or I should say charger. Now you can charge your phone also, right? And it's discreet, out of the way. Something that I came up with, not too shabby, but I am digging it. Not to mention, we're also probably gonna use one of those other ports for something else. I'll talk about it probably later on down the road, but I am digging it. But let's move on to the meat and potatoes, y'all. Check it out. Nothing too hard, nothing too spectacular. We got everything here lined up. Of course, you're gonna need some good crimpers for this job, not to mention wire strippers, your original center console. If you guys do not have a center console, you really probably shouldn't be watching this video. Or if you do have a, I should say a bench seat here, or a 60-40 split or something like that, technically your park neutral safety switch should go to your column. So in theory, you probably can be watching it, but everything's going to connect it to that park neutral safety switch underneath the column versus the guy here. So with the shifter, you're always going to have a little guy like that. That right there is your park neutral safety switch, also your reverse light indicator. So on the bottom of this thing, there's a little guy that moves around as you shift this thing back and forth. It really lives on that bracket that's built into the shifter. So as you put this thing in reverse, it also moves here, and what that does is close the loop on the contact inside the switch, basically telling the car to, it's in reverse, right? So your reverse connector will go onto there, and then your park neutral safety switch will go onto here, right? And that really is what tells the car basic, hey, the car's in park, go ahead and send the signal to the starter and go ahead and crank over. Now, with the American AUTOWIRE harness, you're going to have a couple wires that are coming off that same dash harness that we talked about earlier on in a couple videos ago. You're going to have, of course, you're going to have the two purple starter wires, and then you're going to have a pink and a green. These are pretty standard, even in the 1970s, 72 wiring as far as the color coordination goes. So if you guys are looking at trying to troubleshoot that, you should look similar to this. Now, pink and this green here, that's your reverse lights. So one's an in, one's an out. Basically, you got power coming in and power going back out to the reverse lights once it sees it in reverse. The other two are your starter wires, right? One's hot again, and one's going back to the starter. Once again, it's gonna see the power in, and then as soon as you close the loop and it's in park, it senses it and it closes the signal to here, and it sends the voltage back out to the other side and tells the car, okay, go ahead and start, send power to the starter, we're good to go there. Now with the American AUTOWIRE harness, you're going to have a few things that they give you for the center console. You're going to have more than just those wires. Of course, they're going to give you a few pigtails. Now you're going to get this one here, again, center console only. This is for the lighting on the center console. You're going to actually have 3 lights from the factory, believe it or not. You usually have 2 that go into here and 1 on the back side. The one on the back side is this guy here. This guy right here, you can see it almost looks like, what do you call that thing? The dome light bulb, but it's actually this guy here. That guy right here, that's the little back plate. A lot of people don't even know that's even there. It's basically a little light on the back of the center console, really lighting up the back seat. So if you look on the back side, you see the bulb? It's that old school traditional style bulb that almost looks like it should go on the dome light. Same thing. So you're going to remove that out of there, replace it with this new harness with the pigtail. Now the pigtail though has an open spot. If you notice here, it has an open terminal right there. Where does that come in here? You got this guy right here. This guy right here, the gray and the black, are really your center console indicator, or your shift indicator, I should say. And that's where that ring comes in right there. That gold right there terminal, that goes into that center console connector there, and they actually meet into one. So you'll end up putting that guy into there, and then you'll have a full connector. So you'll have all the lighting onto that one pigtail. So of course, these little guys, once you got your bulbs in, they get connected to this guy. You see those two open slots? Really, that's exactly where they go. They just pop in there, and that way when you got your lights on, you can see actually what gear you're going through at night. Now we're not going to put those on quite yet, because we actually have to swap that indicator out, that plate, because now we got a 4-speed. So we got our ShiftWorks new clear indicator 4-speed that's going to go in there, so that way whoever's driving the car knows exactly what gear they're in, and it's not the old school 3-speed transmission. So we got to swap that out, of course. Not to mention, you're going to have a ground. That guy, you can really just find a good chassis ground. We'll probably go to our right here, our shifter, find a good ground there, because we know the rest of the car is grounded. And then you're going to have a couple more pigtails as well. Of course, you're going to have what we talked about earlier, the starter. This is the park neutral safety switch. That guy right there will go on right to the two ring connectors right there. You see those two? That'll pop on there, and then the other side will go to these two. Now, these two are the ones we were talking about that you're going to have to basically cut to length. You're going to go ahead and get a good idea, cut them to length, and then they provide you with a pigtail. Of course, we're going to crimp our connectors on there and make our pigtail, or I should say connect it to our pigtail from our shift indicator here, or I should say park neutral safety switch. Same thing with the reverse lights. Again, you're going to have one connector there. You're going to have to make the other end with the extra wires they give you. Of course, they're going to give you a couple of these connectors. All you got to do is crimp them on there and slide them in to your plastic connector. Pretty simple, you guys. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. Let me get to work. We're going to cut some stuff back to length, get an idea where we need them, and then I'll show you what this thing looks like. We got everything pretty much laced in, ready to go. Now, keep in mind, when you plug these guys in here to the park neutral safety switch, wiring, make sure it's not going to get caught up or anything, because that could be catastrophic. Not to mention, your car won't start. So make sure you wire this thing up and then lace it nice and neat, so it's not going to get caught on this lever right here when you're shifting this thing, because you can see this thing moves up and down, especially if you're running the horseshoe shifter. But I just got it nice and tight coming across here, and then obviously we got our two connectors right here coming from the main harness. Went ahead and put those on there. Obviously all this stuff will get covered with padding, carpet, and everything else, but that's a quick disconnect just in case. We put them there. And then of course you got the console side. Now the console, this one is kind of beat up, you guys. I went ahead and laced it up anyways. The owner of the car might end up replacing the console just because it's pretty beat up. You can see the thing is cracked up and all the mounting holes are just screwed up. But we went ahead and ran our harness in there. We got our light all set up already. You can see we kind of came in here, tucked up all the wires through here, and then we made our ground just live right there for both of them. And we're gonna just ground it right to this guy right here, so that way all the lights are grounded. And of course you're gonna have this guy right here. This is the guy that's gonna basically live underneath the carpet. It'll go up, or however you want to do this, you can go up through here. But you should have this little pigtail here from American AUTOWIRE hanging from your dash, and that's where that gets plugged in. Just gray, white, and orange. Same thing, that guy plugs into that guy. Once you have the console, of course, laid up where you want it to live. But like I said, this guy here, like I said, it's pretty beat up. But you're gonna have, of course, the one light here that's gonna live in the shifter. And then you'll have your other guy as well, just plug in directly to that back side of that shifter plate, I should say, so that way it'll illuminate that guy when you're going through your gears. You know what gear you in, you can see at night. But that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, that's the center console wiring. Not hard at all, but is, like I said, very much needed. That way your car doesn't start in any gear and you ruin something. But, and lighting, of course. I will say this, I am super excited because hopefully the next video, you guys, this thing should turn over. We got to go through the punch list, oils, fluids, everything else. And technically right now, like, we should have power right now. We got the battery hooked up, I think. See? Oh yeah, so we got to go through all this stuff too, configure the console, configure the, not the console, but the gauges and everything else, set all that stuff up. But look at that, you guys, we got power. That's a good sign. But once again, subscribe, thumbs up. You guys know what to do, and you guys already know, stay wrenching.